Welcome back to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Marshall SC20C. This is the JCM800 combo, and this particular one is in, I think, a custom white color, which I think it looks really, really cool. Now, just to let you know, I reviewed this a long time ago when they first came out, but I've never had a chance to try them out in the context of a live mix, which is what this particular series is all about. So this is part of the Keys to the Guitar Shop series I do with Dr. Rick and some of the other guys that are friends of mine. And it's been a lot of fun testing out things, seeing how they respond in the mix, then also being shocked and also disappointed with other stuff that we thought might have been better or worse. So it's a great way for us to test just how well these things work out in the real world. So if you're a gigging musician or you aspire to go out and jam and you're wondering, which amplifiers are good in those particular situations, that's what these videos will hopefully help you decide on whether or not they're right for you or not. Again, links to all this stuff will be in the description below. Firstly, a massive thank you to Sky Music for letting us shoot in their shop. They don't sponsor the videos in any other way than just letting us do the videos. So thank you to them. If you live in Australia, check them out. Links to them will be below as well. I'll leave links to this amp in the description as well if you live overseas, and you can check it out in your part of the world. But I'm starting to really enjoy the Marshall experience. I own a Marshall DSL40CR, which is my favorite gigging amp. It's just so good. You can plug straight into it and get great tones, or you can use pedals into the clean or crunch channel and it works great. This amplifier has a whole lot of mojo, but it's a very different amplifier to that of the DSL, and it also sounds different to the DSL20CR, which is one of my favorite small amplifiers now as well. I'm not sponsored by Marshall. I don't get any of this stuff for free. The Marshall that I own, I paid for. So one of the biggest differences between the JCM800, for example, and some of the other amps that Marshall make is that there's no reverb circuit. So there's no ultra gain circuit either, and those are the two things that might be a deal breaker depending on your particular situation. But where the JCM800 shines is rock tones. It does a great job not only giving you that classic sound, but also cutting the mix. One of the things you'll love about this amplifier is it's plenty loud to gig with at 20 watts within reason, right? If you've got a 5 or 6 piece band, you might not get heard in that situation, but in a 3 or 4 piece band, you should have no problems cutting the mix. And I had no problems keeping up with real drums and real bass in the clip you're about to hear. But you can also switch to 5 watts, which is awesome if you just want to track some parts in the studio. So it's got that going for it as well. One of the things that separates the Marshall SC20C from, say, something like the Marshall DSL20, for example, is that there's no ultra gain channel and there's no reverb circuit. So that might be a deal breaker depending on how you look at it. But in terms of just straight up rock tones, this thing is awesome. There's nothing to stop you from, say, running a delay pedal into the front end if you want a little bit of ambience or whatever. But overall, man, these amps are a lot of fun. Let's take a listen. So let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons of this amp and kind of where it fits in context to the other amps from Marshall. Now, this is a 20 watt amp at its maximum, so if you need more headroom than that, go for the Marshall DSL40CR or go for the Origin 50. The Origin 50 is the only one of those amps that I recommend from the Origin series because it has a 12-inch speaker and lots more throw than any of the ones under it. Now, if 20 watts is enough, this is a really great choice. I love the fact you can switch to 5 watts, but one thing you need to know about this, it has a 10-inch speaker, which isn't a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something that you need to take into consideration, because if you want more oomph out of this amp, you're going to have to run an external speaker box, which also isn't a deal breaker, but it's just something to be well aware of, as you can also buy this in head form. Now, one of the cool things about the speaker, it's a Celestion V-Type 10-inch speaker rated at 50 watts. So these V-Type speakers sound great in these amps, and it's a very sort of traditional British sound. It gives you lots of top end. One of the things I noticed, once you start cranking this amp up into the volumes that I had it at, you do start to lose a little bit of top end the more you push any valve amplifier, and that was on display in this video. So at the end of the day, this amplifier is really suited to someone who just wants a plug and play amp without all the frills, without all the multiple channels, without reverb or ultra gain or any of that. They just want to plug in and get a great tone at either 20 watts or at 5 watts. So if you're a studio guy, this would be a no-brainer. I really like this amplifier. It's something that sounded far better in the mix than it did just on its own. Once we plugged it in, I was like, man, this is great. And playing kind of took care of itself. When you get a good tone, it's far easier to play and you just focus more on the playing than you do on fiddling with controls. So overall, I really dig this amp. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.